told you there's going to be a delay.
We're bad at this.
Oh wait, this is my first video, so give me a break. Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to my first live video of Sundown Depot. Sorry for the delay. We're trying to figure things out. This is my first live video, and I'm cross streaming on both Facebook and YouTube, so we're all treading new waters here. So for today, I am making a couple Norwegian desserts. First one we're making is kringle. Kringle is actually a Swedish dish, cookie, that derives from kringle, which was brought by the Romans. So, pretty easy. First thing we're going to do, in a large bowl here, we're going to take 4 cups of flour. Doesn't need to be sifted, doesn't need to be exact either. Try to get as close to 4 cups as possible. And 4. Alright, we need 1.5 cups of sugar. This is a 3/4 cup, so 2 of them makes 1.5 cups. Baking powder, let's see here, we need 1 teaspoon baking powder. Aha, there we go. One teaspoon baking soda. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we're going to just mix this all together here. Usually I use a fork, kind of sift it all together. Alright, next thing we need is a cup of buttermilk. But before that, I need 1/2 cup of butter, which is a stick. I melt my butter. The recipe doesn't say to melt it, but I do. I think it just makes the consistency better. So I'm just going to put it in my measuring cup here. And I'm just going to nuke it. So I got my melted butter here. I am actually just going to add my buttermilk right to it. And then we need to add vanilla, which is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. then we add an egg. And we're going to mix that together. And I just add it right into our dry mix here. Now you can use an electric mixer to combine it. I prefer to do it by hand because it kind of gums up the beaters. But yeah, you just want to mix this until it's all uniform. After you're done mixing it, you're going to want to refrigerate it for at least 2 hours. I prefer to do it overnight. It's going to be a little sticky when you mix it. I get to a point though I start doing it by hand. Once it's all mixed together, again, just cover it and then throw it in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Alright, just pop it in the fridge. I had already pre-made some dough here because I didn't think we want to stick around for a couple hours for it to chill. So next thing, you want to flour either your counter, table, whichever flat surface you're using here. Just pinch off a bit of your dough. And kind of roll in the flour. Think of it as like making pretzels. I'm just gonna keep rolling out into a kind of, so it looks kind of like a snake here. And then you can either do a pretzel shape or you can do a figure 8 shape. I do a figure 8. Basically, I just kind of wrap it around my 2 fingers here like that. And we just plop it right on a cookie sheet. And I just pinch off a little bit more. add it to what I was previously working on. And just keep rolling it out until you're all out of your dough. One of the things you can do to this cookie, you can sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top. I think it tastes just good as it is. Last one here. I'm gonna pop this into the oven, 350 degrees, for about 10 minutes. So after the 10 minutes, I'll pop them out and you can see what they look like after they're baked. But that's how you make kringle. So we're going to clean up here. I'm just going to shove that off to the side. Throw this back in the fridge. All right, so next thing we're going to make is our lefse. First thing we're going to want to do is peel and boil some potatoes. You're basically going to make mashed potatoes. If you have any leftover mashed potatoes, as long as they're not seasoned with anything really other than salt and cream, that's perfect to use. I dice my potatoes up so they cook a little faster. Just add them to a pot of water here. This recipe asks for about 3.5 cups. It's kind of hard to judge what 3.5 cups would look like here. You just kind of have to use your best judgment on that. So I'm just going to finish dicing these up, and then, yeah, throw it on the stove top, bring it to a boil. Alright, so I already had some potatoes pre-boiled here, so we're just going to mash them. I'll just use a larger fork. Alright, so the other thing we're going to do here, after we mash our potatoes here, we're going to run it through a ricer. This is our ricer here. I'm just going to scoop some of this up. I'm just going to pour up some more. And I'm going to do this until I get about the 3.5 cups that this recipe uses. I'll have leftovers here. That's okay. It's a little bit more than 3.5 cups, but that's not too bad here. So our next step is to add a teaspoon of salt. Two tablespoons of sugar. We need a 1/4 cup of melted butter. Ooh, excuse me. So that's half a stick of butter. Let's throw this in the mic. And the last thing we're going to need is a 1/4 cup. Well, this recipe says coffee rich. Half and half will work just fine. Milk. I have heavy whipping cream here. And that should be just as fine as well. I'm just going to add this to my melted butter here. Pour it in to the potatoes. And just mix it all together. So it's a little soupy here, so I'm just going to add a bit more potato. I like that consistency a little bit better. Basically, you want just a sweet mashed potatoes here. Again, cover this a couple hours, chill, or overnight. My oven just went off, so we'll see what the kringle looks like. Here we got our kringle. Pretty simple. You can go a little bit longer so it has a little more golden color to it. I think this is just fine. Just let it cool a little bit. Cooling rack there. And that's it. And I mean, it kind of has a light flavor to it, almost like a shortbread. Not quite. You can put jelly on it. I've put butter on mine. And I've also just eaten it as is. Alright, I'm going to get this out of the way. So just like the kringle, I had went ahead and prepared a small batch of lefse. It's been chilling for a few hours here. Well, nice and firm here. From here, you're going to want about a cup of flour. So I'm actually just going to use this leftover flour from the kringle. I'm going to roll the flour into our lefse mixture here. I don't want it to be too sticky, otherwise when you roll this out, it's just going to stick to your rolling pin here. Now to all the church ladies who might be watching, don't judge me on this. I've never made this from the start before. I've always been the roller. I think I'm gonna add a little more flour still to this. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. Oh, that's sugar. So when you roll out your lefse here, you're going to want a board here with a pastry cloth on it. You're going to cover your cloth with flour. That was a little too much. That's okay. Just brush it off. Way too much. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut off just a small bit here. Roll into a ball and kind of into a puck. You grab a rolling pin. You're going to want a little stocking over it. You're going to cover that in flour. Now this is actually a special rolling pin. It is actually a lefse rolling pin. It has grooves compared to your regular rolling pin. So you kind of want to center your puck here, and you just gradually roll it out. If it's not a uniform circle, it's going to be okay. It's still going to taste just as good. Want it thin, but you don't want it too thin. I kind of go to where I can kind of see the lines and the wording from the cloth come through. I kind of go by feel as well. If it gives a little, I think we're still good. We have this turning stick, as it is called, to transfer our lefse to our skillet over here. I have this, we'll turn it up just a little bit. It's at 400, 450 is just fine. And you just kind of slide your turning stick underneath. And sometimes you're going to notice some sticky spots, in which you would just kind of want to slow down and. Okay. Just gonna pick it up and throw it onto our grill here. And you're gonna cook this both sides until you get some brown spots on the left side. And you can see it starting to bubble here. So I am not an expert on lefse. However, I would say I am an expert on lefse rolling. I have been rolling lefse with my church for, I don't know how many years at this point. I don't know if anyone can give me an exact time. I was a kid when I started. So, seeing all these bubbles, something probably went wrong. I'm not sure what. If anyone who's made lefse more than I have knows why, I'd greatly appreciate to know. Let's see, we got some bubbles, brown spots here, which is a good sign. You don't want the whole thing to be brown, although I know a few people who do like their lefse a little crispy. But once both sides are cooked, you just transfer it to cloth to let it cool down. So I think that looks done. Transfer it over, cover it up, and just let it cool. And that is how you make lefse. Lefse is, I traditionally just spread some butter on it and brown sugar or cinnamon sugar, and then roll it up. And then eat it. I think it's delicious. It's nice and sweet. I've had the skringla and lefse has become a tradition for the holidays, which is why I wanted to share it with you guys. I appreciate all you guys who are watching. I hope you liked the video. I hope you enjoyed the awkwardness. And